Emeka Egbuka, not to be outdone, he is 4th in the NFL in receiving yards right now as a rookie.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
I think my takeaway coming out of this game, James, is that the guy is so obviously the most important player in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers passing offense right now.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
This guy as a rookie receiver is just so far and away, and Mike Evans is hurt, I understand that, but he is just so far and away the most important player in this passing game. I'm just so impressed with what he's doing right now. And it's funny because I wrote in the charting tracker previously on the site. I've actually since charted this game, and we'll break it down here in a minute. But one of the things I wrote about him was I'm confident based on his RP prospect profile and his early data saying that he's a good player. The question is like how good, and we're entering the most critical phase of Egbuka's rookie season with Evans out because this was written prior to week 4. I think based on what we saw in this game, like pretty big answer to that question of the most critical phase of his rookie season so far.
Can we talk about what he looked like as a prospect versus what he is doing as a pro? Because I'll be 100% honest with you. He's obviously performing, I think, better than what he is performing better than what most everybody thought.
Yes.
He played this primary slot receiver role at Ohio State. And again, when we did our post-draft show, and I'm talking over here about Emeka Egbuka, Matt, I was, caping up for this guy saying, hey, he's not just a slot-only guy. He can play outside. What I saw at Ohio State was a player who's got skill sets that can translate to the outside, and we have certainly seen that here in the NFL. But has anything changed in regards to route by route basis? Is he doing something different on, for example, when you look at his reception perception. Prospect profile wasn't that great on 9 routes. Is that an area where he has improved? Is something different in regards to what we are seeing right now with Emeka?
Yeah, I think the thing that's different from him, and just to put a finer point on what you're saying there, yes, 100%. He was a prospect I really liked. I gave him a clear first round ranking, a tier 2 wide receiver, same tier as Tedero McMillan. I think McMillan's been good in the NFL so far. I think Egbuka has been better. He would be right now the favorite to be the offensive rookie of the year, in my opinion. And there's a lot of rookies that are having nice seasons, but he's just been different in that way. And so far I've charted 3 games of him. Jets, Falcons, and then the Seahawks game. He's lined up in the slot on just 31.4% of those snaps. He's been on the line of scrimmage 60.1%, more than he has been off the line of scrimmage, and 37 snaps on the line to 15 snaps off the line in this week 5 game against Seattle, which it's not that he's doing Mike Evans things necessarily, but I think that's what maybe people aren't realizing is that when Mike Evans left the lineup, because they were also getting Chris Godwin back, and then, my guy Sterling Shepard, who, by the way, another touchdown, continues to make just clutch-ass plays for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. Absolutely love to see it.
There it is.
Sterling Shepard in year, friggin' 10 of his career. Pretty cool stuff. Love to see that for Sterling Shepard. But he's a slot receiver, so you're not going to put Chris Godwin at X because he's always been a guy that's functioned best as a power slot and lean towards flanker position if he is going to play outside. Obviously, Sterling Shepard's not that. We theorized, how is this going to work? We were asking that question. Well, the Bucs' answer has been to put Emeka Egbuka outside and on the line of scrimmage. And obviously they do some things where it's condensed formations. He's tighter to the line of scrimmage than your typical, George Pickens outside X receiver, whatever. There's obviously a difference there. They do things schematically where they blur the line with motion at the snap as what is a slot, what is an outside receiver, all those things that the smart offenses are doing right now. But still, for the vast majority of his snaps, he's outside on the line of scrimmage. And that is definitely a big reversal from what he was as a prospect, where I thought he'd be this excellent dirty work wide receiver who worked in the short and intermediate area. But you're right to point this out. Downfield routes is been a calling card for him. I have a collection of plays at this point now clips saved on my laptop where he is just like big post routes. Like we're just right at the break point. He sells that little subtle shift and then with just ultimate fluidity, works it back inside, and Baker Mayfield just pins it right on him. That happened again in this Seattle game. It happened I think both of his touchdowns, if not just at least one of the touchdowns in the Atlanta Falcons game, the first game of his career. 13% of his routes in this 3-game sample have been post routes, 83.3% success rate. That is compared to a sub 9% usage on post routes as a prospect and a sub 69% success rate. So he has definitely been a menace on the deep and intermediate over the middle routes. Dig routes, 20.7% success rate on dig. 20.7% usage on dig routes. 89.5% success rate. So, I mean, just those 2 routes alone, he's been incredible.
Still my heart. Be still.
Right. And look at the other most productive wide receivers in the league right now. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
And guess who else is piling up production on those 2 routes, especially dig routes? It's those 2 guys. So when you got a quarterback that's confident to rip it into zone coverage, when you've got a rookie receiver, by the way, who is uniquely good against zone coverage right now in these 3 games, just a shy of 82% success rate versus zone coverage. Think back to the rookie class we talked about last year, 2024. Great class, obviously a lot of great players, but my criticism of basically all of them in the midseason rookie report was none of these guys are star level or even like high end zone beaters. And that's not like a criticism necessarily over the long term, because sometimes with rookie receivers, it just like takes a minute to know where to settle down and find the right spots against zone like a pro. Well, Emeka Egbuka is doing that right now. He's winning against zone coverage. He's being a reliable target, which was what he was as a prospect. 82nd percentile success rate versus zone. That is definitely translated to the NFL so far. Hey guys, quick break here to tell you about our sponsor, ZBiotics. I got to tell you, this is a game-changing product for me personally that I use before a night out with drinks. It's called Pre-Alcohol. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic Drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It is a buildup of that byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. So just remember, make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you're going to feel your best tomorrow. When I have to travel for work, I still want to be able to go out with colleagues, see some people that I don't normally see, socialize, have a few drinks at night, but be able to get up and get my steps in, get my workout the next day, and feel my best before doing shows, interacting with folks, whatever it is. With pre-alcohol, I don't have to sacrifice that the next day anymore. So go to zbiotics.com/RP to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use code RP at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they're going to refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, head to zbiotics.com/RP and use the code RP at checkout for 15% off.
I mean, that being said, you go back to the prospect profile, and his below average routes were all 9 post dig and curl. Again, so we're talking post dig curl. These are in breaking routes here. And I think that, as you pointed out in your charting, that he's doing extremely well on these in breaking routes here. So whether it just wasn't a featured part of Chip Kelly's offense at Ohio State, and whether or not it's different here in the pros, we're just seeing a little bit of a different player from Emeka Egbuka. He's just added to his game. He hasn't. I won't even say he's changed his game, but I just think he's added to his game here. Even at this point in his career. And I think that's got to be pretty darn exciting.
Yeah. Shout out to Ron Stewart, who had me on his show. He's got a great YouTube channel that people should check out. Of course, he has me on his show at least like twice a year, talk prospects, and then right before the season and talk some kind of my guys. Luckily, we brought up Emeka Egbuka on the show. I brought him up as one of the names to discuss. And Ron, he just posted this video on Twitter again today, which is what made me think about it. Kind of ran by this theory that these Ohio State wide receivers, and I think this is true at LSU as well, because they're just so stock loaded with these talented prospects. By the way, Ohio State is definitely making up ground in what looked like a losing battle last year as to like who is wide receiver because JSN is second in receiving yards, Emeka Egbuka is fourth, Garrett Wilson is sixth. So we're making some ground here back for Ohio State. Sure. But for these schools that, it's kind of, Ron compared it to like Kentucky basketball, where these guys, which I know nothing about, of course, but these guys just like aren't fully maximized at the college level because they have so many superstars. And for guys like Emeka Egbuka, he was like a big time recruit. He goes to Ohio State. He was productive every single year. He just was never the guy, quote unquote. And same thing kind of with JSN too, where he was behind Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, and it's like, oh, is he just a slot receiver because he played in the slot at college? But same thing, like JSN and Emeka Egbuka both have the same thing as prospect profiles in reception perception, where they did not have a big sample size in terms of their routes against press coverage. Both of them had unbelievable success rates. I mean, especially Egbuka, just 7.6% of his routes were against press coverage, but a 92nd percentile success rate. So it's like, Daniel Jeremiah says this all the time. Like, if you show me you can do it, I know you can do it. Like, as opposed to how often did you do it? Which is something I believe in. I do think repeatable evidence and getting a catalog of it is obviously critical when we're evaluating what players can do. Right. But when these guys as prospects show, when you isolate them, they can beat press coverage, they're just not asked to do it on a consistent basis because they've got these other talented dudes on the outside, right? I think that there is some real powerful evidence to that part of it, and that's who he's been in the NFL. Like, I mentioned the success rate for his zone coverage. He's had no issues separating against man coverage either. We're talking about just under 70, like right around 73% success rate versus man. So we're approaching some pretty good territory here for Emeka Egbuka, who's been awesome so far. As a rookie, we're 5 games into his NFL career. Like, it's pretty big time stuff what he's doing right now. I'm really excited about him. And I mean, I just think that, it'll be interesting to see how he plays when Mike Evans comes back. Like, what's his role going to be? But right now, I think he is pretty much locked in as the top guy in Tampa Bay based on what he's doing right now. Like, the stats are what they are. And at least in my opinion, I definitely found out over the weekend with tweeting about him, there's been some like dust ups on fantasy Twitter about, I don't know, other like concerns about separation, stuff like that. I don't see any of it. I think the film looks awesome. And I've been saying that basically ever since week 1 when I charted him for the website.
Are we talking about separation score? Is that what we're talking about over here?
I don't know. I don't like to comment on what other people's work. I'm just saying, for me, based on what I saw, I was surprised to see there was any sort of concern about his ability to separate, because to me, putting him through reception perception, I think he looks awesome. And I think he's looked awesome from week 1 all the way through here to week 5, the data we have on him. So I think he's legit. I just think from like an archetype perspective, this type of receiver that can play all 3 positions and can really win over the middle of the field, when you have a confident veteran quarterback that can do that, I just think that's really how you unlock something special in the NFL right now.